We're going to transition right now to Lisa Bloom, who's going to be telling us about, I love this, how to build a buzzworthy company culture. So I'm very excited to hear from the most famous lawyer in the United States on how to create a buzzworthy culture. Lisa, take it away.
Well, thank you for that very nice introduction, Bill. And Michael, I couldn't agree with you more about delegating. I'm always telling the senior attorneys in my firm, you've got to delegate. And I do think it's very hard for people to let go. You know, there's no class in law school that tells you how to delegate or how to run a business or how to create a buzzworthy firm culture. So that's what we are here to do. And by the way, Craig, I was very moved by one of your prior presentations where you talked about going to lunch once a week with somebody from your firm and you get through everybody in the firm in a little over a year. That was very moving to me, and I think I'm going to institute that, although I don't know if I can do it during the pandemic. But there's a lot of great ideas out there about how to build a strong firm. So let me screen share. Ta-da! And let me see if I can then move through my slides. Okay, so let's see if that works. Okay, so building a buzzworthy firm culture. Very important to me, and it always has been very important to me. So when I started out as a baby lawyer, I worked at a small law firm and then a big law firm in New York. And those firm cultures, frankly, were somewhere between boring and mean, and often both. So I worked my tuchus off. I made good money in those firms. But as a young lawyer, I would look up the hierarchy at the senior attorneys and the partners, and I saw that they had become these grumpy people whose families were falling apart, who never got to do anything except practice law. They had no outside interests. They were not healthy. They didn't exercise. And I thought, wow, you know, I'm making a good living. The work is interesting, but this is just not for me. So the firm that I have currently, the Bloom firm, we're about 10 years old. We're one of the largest victims' rights law firms in the country at about a dozen lawyers right now. We have lawyers in New York and Texas and Los Angeles. And what we do is very stressful and draining. This is a picture of me with one of my clients, Isaiah Washington. He was a victim of race discrimination. He worked in a factory in downtown LA, and he came into work one day to find a noose hanging over his workstation. He complained about it, and he was told by HR, oh, I guess you just don't have a sense of humor. Obviously, that's just supposed to be funny. Why don't you just get over it? And he got more agitated. He insisted that there be an investigation, that it get taken down. Thank God he took a picture of it before it was taken down, because later on they denied that it even happened. And he really suffered. He had a lot of anxiety. He had PTSD. And most of our clients really suffer. They are victims of trauma. As I mentioned at the beginning, talking to Craig, we represent 6 victims of Jeffrey Epstein. They are severely traumatized by the rape and sexual assault that they endured 10, 20 years ago. And part of what we do is we really go deep on our clients' psychological injuries, which means we really explore their lives, talk to their therapists, talk to their family and friends, get all of the details about their anxiety, their depression, their post-traumatic stress. And, you know, they're very sad stories. We have clients often crying on the phone or on the Zoom or in meetings with us, clients who are in psychological distress. Sometimes they're suicidal, sometimes they're hospitalized. So this is tough work. And I'm sure that all of the work that everybody does here is also tough and stressful. So I'm a little bit of a mother hen with my firm. We need a break, right? We all need a break. We need to go deep with our clients. We really need to understand them. We need to get the experts. We need to line it all up. And then we need to be human beings and take a break. And frankly, we need lots of breaks. And I make sure that my team gets them. I check in about their mental health status. How are you doing? I know that was really hard. You know, are you breathing? Are you taking your mental health breaks? Because it's super important. And we talk about secondary trauma. So secondary trauma is a presentation that one of my attorneys did recently to the firm, which is essentially when you're working with a traumatized population, you can often take on a lot of the pain and a lot of the trauma and become a secondary trauma victim. We don't want that. We don't want our attorneys to become secondary trauma victims. And the way to do that is for them to take a break, take a breath, breathe, step back, and have some boundaries. I see this as an essential part of my work, keeping my firm on an even keel and really making sure that this stuff does not go so deep as to traumatize us. I should also point out that I think it's about 1 in 4 women are victims of sexual abuse sometime in their lives, 1 in 7 men. So many members of my team are probably sexual abuse victims. I don't ask them. Some of them have volunteered it and talked to clients about it occasionally. But if not them, somebody they know. So this can be very personal and can be very triggering for the team. So what do we do to lighten the mood around the firm and keep everybody on that even keel? Well, of course, we started with holiday parties. I mean, who doesn't do holiday parties? And this is the before times when we could all crowd together in a room for a group picture without masks and breathe on each other. So of course, we instituted holiday parties. We try to make them fun. We have ugly sweater contests. This is my team a year or 2 ago. Actually, I guess it was last year because it's in my new house, getting together for the holiday parties. We love that they invite their families and their kids, and everybody wears goofy outfits. There's me in my little elf costume in the green in the front row, and my husband in his strange cat jacket, which I don't know what that has to do with the holidays. I always find the parties where everybody stands around and talks and drinks to be very boring. I don't know about you. Maybe some people like those parties. I never liked them. These are people we stand around and talk with anyway in the break room, saying good morning, saying hello, how was your weekend? So I think we've already pretty much covered the chit chat with our firm. And so those are not the kind of parties or gatherings that I wanted to have. So we had games, lots of games. Maybe it's because I used to be a camp counselor. Whether it's giant Jenga, whether it crashes down, and just things for people to do. We have a lot of different game stations. People have to go around and try all of the different games. They have to get outside their comfort zone. If somebody says, oh, I've never played that game, I'm not good at it, I say, well, do you only do things you're good at? And get them really smiling and laughing at themselves. We have really goofy games. So this is a game my assistant came up with. We divide up into teams, and this was one where we all got a little bag and we had to pick one person to be the Christmas tree, and everybody wraps them up and decorates them and puts something over their head. And it's like the most crazy, weird, outrageous Christmas tree won. That's my husband in the center. I don't know who won. I don't know who that even is in the foreground, but I can guarantee you there was a lot of laughing and carrying on, and it was a lot of fun. We have ugly sweater contests. We involve the kids. That's my daughter in the green reindeer ears. She works in my firm. That's me in my elf costume. So you get the idea. We have ugly sweater contests. The guy on the left had a picture of himself, which I thought was very creative. And, when in doubt, have a lot of different categories to make it as fun as possible. We have these team building activities. This one was building gingerbread houses. And, people are yelling and screaming because, lawyers are kind of competitive people, and paralegals and legal assistants and family members, also very competitive people. So games stations. Now, of course, you have to have prizes. That makes it a lot more fun. This was a young woman who works for us who was pretty happy with her prize. You got to have good prizes, folks. You don't want to have cheap prizes that nobody's interested in. It's not so easy to come up with good prizes because you have to think about, you don't know who's going to win. Are they going to be male, female, old, young? So I recommend electronics. Everybody seems to really enjoy electronics, nice electronics. So I think you get the idea there. People were pretty happy. Everybody likes cash. This is something I've noticed about the world. My dad once told me that you can't give cash to family or friends, but you can always give cash to employees. And I have to tell you, and over the years of all these parties where we've had big cash prizes, nobody has ever complained about it. People seem to enjoy the big cash prize. So we have photo booths, etc. Now, let's move on. So then we decided that the holiday parties were always a big hit, but you know what? The holidays only come once a year, and it's just not enough. So we instituted additional parties because just we needed to have more. So we started to have summer parties as well, and these are flamingo somethings that my assistant put together. You'll hear more about him in a minute because everybody gets a prize when they leave. You know, you just want to give out a lot of stuff. We have more games, more team building games. I don't even know what that one was. Everybody has to take a step back. You know, water balloon contests are always fun. Got to bring the kids, got to have prizes. And then that, of course, is still not enough. So we have the monthly birthday parties. I'm sure a lot of you have monthly birthday parties, but we try to make them as goofy as possible. That's the goal. Again, everybody just kind of standing around in a room, to me, is very boring. So we have themed birthday parties based on people's particular interests. I guess this person is interested in football or soccer. I'm not a sports person, so I don't even know what sport that is. You guys can tell me. And we put it together, and then we, you know, my assistant buys stuff from the party store, and we take a big group picture. Team games, Wheel of Fortune, that was a fun one. Family Feud, whatever it is, you know, these are all available on the internet. Very easy to find, very easy to put together, especially if you delegate it to somebody else. Okay, so that was the before times. Now, of course, we're in the pandemic, and we have all gone remote since the beginning of March. We have all stayed remote since then. I don't think it's safe for people to be together in an office. Some of you may disagree. You're going to make your own choices. I believe that if I don't want to be indoor in an office with people, it's not right for me to insist that my staff do it. So we have all been working remotely and frankly, working remotely pretty well since March. So we had to really rethink, how are we going to do this? Because life is even more stressful now. We know that lawyers have a lot of mental health challenges, substance abuse challenges, which is why we are here in California, at least, required to do an MCLE hour every couple of years about mental health and substance abuse. So it's very real, and I think it's even more of a challenge now. I read somewhere that like 40% of people are now struggling with very significant mental health problems since the pandemic. So we all get together on Zoom once a week, and you may notice on the bottom row there's a llama. We don't actually have a llama that works for our law firm, but we surprised everybody this day with a little video, person who zoomed in from a rescue animal organization. I'm a vegan and an animal rights activist, so I used the opportunity to propagandize about animals, and the llama was very cute, and everybody had a good time and really enjoyed it. At our weekly meetings, of course, we do updates on firm cases, we talk about issues, but we still get silly. So we had a Zoom baby shower for a couple of our attorneys who are having babies soon. This is one of the games that my assistant came up with. Everybody had to submit baby pictures. We had to guess who it was. That's me on number 8, living my best life at about age 11. That's my husband, who some of you know, number 15, Braden. And actually, some of these were pretty hard to guess. And so we had a contest and, of course, prizes. Okay, so here's the most important thing I can tell you. Really, I should not even be doing this presentation. It should be my assistant, Marcelino, pictured here. This was at a Halloween party we had with a costume contest, and he is the kid from Up. If you have seen the film Up, you will realize he did a very good job, and he looks actually just like this kid from Up. So pick a person who works for you, who is a lot of fun, And then, building off of what Michael said, delegate. I mean, I'm kind of a fun person, but I would never dream up the things that he comes up with. He goes online, he finds games. I give him a little direction. Everything has to be G-rated. Everything has to be, work appropriate. Let's not cross any lines. But let's have a lot of games. Let's have a lot of prizes. Let's make it colorful. Let's have a lot of decoration. And Marcelino goes to town. And I highly recommend you pick somebody in your organization like this, delegate them, make them captain of fun. If you don't have somebody like that, hire somebody like that, because it really makes a big, big difference. So the last thing I want to say is I feel good about the fact that I don't have the kind of firm that I worked for where I made a lot of money, but that really it wasn't meaningful to me, and I left. And when I left, I took a pay cut because I just wanted to have a better quality of life. And a lot of attorneys do. It's not just about compensation and benefits for your staff. Of course, those are important, but they really want to have a good quality of life. They want to feel like there's a team, people are there for them, that people care about them, that the work may be hard, it may be challenging, but then they're going to get a break and they're all going to be able to smile together at the end of the day. And, it's never going to be perfect, but I think at my firm, that's what we've achieved. And it's something that I'm very proud of. And as the pandemic goes on, we're going to continue to do what we can remotely. And one day when this pandemic is over, we're going to all get back together again and just be as goofy as we always have been.
Love it.
So that's it.
Unbelievable, Lisa. Wow. I love that you literally just opened the hood. Everything you just showed us was like literally not theory. It was just like, here's exactly what I did. So I have like 15 ideas written down right now, which Emily is going to be receiving an email about very shortly. So Emily can thank you for a new to-do list. We'll have to figure out who is our director of, what was it? Captain of Fun?
Yeah, captain of fun.
Maybe that could become a director role, like a leadership team role one day, Just like putting brain scanners on everyone to make sure that they're like having enough dopamine or fun throughout the week or something. So I appreciate that, Lisa, and super inspirational and very important during these tough times.